PHDJ podcast. Let's go. With your hosts, Mike Walter, owner of Elite Entertainment in New Jersey, and Joe Bunn, owner of Bunn DJ Company in North Carolina. Get ready to learn from two mobile DJ industry veterans with over 200 episodes under their belt. It's time for the PHDJ podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the PHDJ podcast with your hosts again. It's Joe Bunn
and Mike Walter, coming to you live from the Marquee DJ and Photo Booth Show in Chicago, sharing. Well, we have 1 million DJs here, and for some reason we have one microphone for the podcast.
I'm telling you, this is going to be one you're going to want to watch on video, because I'm basically putting it in front of Mike, and then everybody's saying I'll get to speak more this episode.
Do like this, like when they duet in concerts.
Don't go breaking my heart. That?
I don't know why that's the first one that came.
I don't either. All right, so we are here live in Chicago. There's probably, 3,000 people in the room?
I was going to go 2,500, but yeah, I'd say 3,000. Let's go high to 3,000.
There's easily 3,000 people in the room. They're being very quiet for the recording of this. They're secretly fanboying out. But today we are going to do something. When we did this in Tennessee, did we do this? We took questions?
Yes, we did Q&A at Arms a couple years ago.
We do.
But let's recap the show real quick. It's like halfway through the show right now. It's day and a half gone, day and a half to go. So far, highlights. What have you? Joe spoke this morning.
I thought, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Today went really well. Yeah, I was the kind of kickoff. And yesterday, I had a bunch of phone calls to make, but I did see Brian Bonacisi kick off the show, who I thought was phenomenal, as usual. Super smart. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought Brian was great. When he threw out his price, I was like, wow. We just increased our price recently, like this much, little bit. And then I'm like, man, Brian's got some cojones.
He was throwing out some like 15, 20K price tags, guys, which is super inspirational.
But the best part was he explained how to do it. So I don't know if you can get that content anywhere. If not, I'm sure Brian will be speaking. Oh, the doggy just walked in. Hi. Yeah, I'm sure Brian will probably be presenting that somewhere else, and you should check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And then Digital Dave was today, did some programming, which Mike is covering tomorrow morning, first thing. So yours is going to be different, though, like you were saying.
As I put on Facebook right after, I thought Dave's seminar was great. He and I touched on a few of the things that I will be touching on tomorrow. But even, like, for example, I talk about hooks tomorrow in my seminar, but I use completely different examples of songs. So even the material that will be kind of a repeat, and I'm saying that so that 3,000 people in this room don't see a programming description tomorrow and go, oh, I already saw that, I can sleep through that. Please come. Yeah. Please, at least half of you. If I get 1,500 of you there, I'll be happy.
Well, at least, you won't have the microphone down your throat. So.
Thank you, Mark.
So we, like I said, we are live in Chicago. We are going to be taking questions live. Before I get started, I have to shout out a listener of the show and a friend of Mike and I's, Tamara Sims. She loves, obviously, the snack episode, or the don't eat at your wedding episode, where I'm pounding on my desk. So she left a bag of Chex Mix for the camera and for you guys on the table when we walked in, and it says, to Joe Bunn from Tamara, just in case you forgot to pack a fucking snack. Thanks for all you do for our industry.
Should have named that.
The industry, yes. Yeah. So thank you, Tamara. So anyway, let's just hands up, like old school style. Does anybody have a DJ related question? Mars, let's get it started. And we'll repeat the question back.
Related to you is that, I've been going to seminars at least 15 years and everything, decades of things like that. You know what? You just kind of splashed on the scene. How has it been for you as a multi-op, and also as a multi-op, and being able to be an industry voice that people have now consider a lighthouse for a lot of things? How has that helped you transition to being a better owner, and also be able to inspire you to have more products or more inspiration to just do better?
Yeah.
Just say, please direct questions to me instead of Joe in the future.
No, next one to him. Our friend Mars is here from Chicago, by the way, and was just asking me about how I mean, it was a long question, but he's basically asking about how I kind of popped on the scene and how I'm basically trying to give back. And so just a short answer to a longer question, I guess, is, the history of me starting giving back, or really this, let's say, this third of my career, or the last third, if you will, of my career, was inspired by literally people like Mike Walter sitting right here beside me. I went to seminars for years in Las Vegas, would watch from the sidelines and just be like, what is happening right now? And then, I would sit through 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally the sixth guy walks on, and it's Mike Walter, and I'm like, all right, he gets it. Like, to the point where I paid him, hired him 15 years ago, probably, came down to Raleigh, helped train my guys. And so that was kind of the catalyst. Okay, well, he gets it. I get it. Let me share what I know over these past 20 years with everybody else. And then that parlayed into, not just speaking at conferences and selling something at the end of it, but, well, let me just take all these articles I've written, same as Mike. Let me take these little videos that I make and just put them in this, what is now known as the DJ's Vault. And that's how it started. But it was all about, like you said, giving back. And even through last year, it was almost more of even on my worst days, I was like, I feel like people, like you said, are looking to me like a lighthouse. Like, I need to stay positive, even when I'm not. Like, I don't want to be the person that brings this whole thing worse, that makes it worse. I want to be the person that every 2 or 3 weeks I'm like, all right, checking in with y'all, where are we? Like, hang in there, we're going to get to the end. And even though Mike and I thought it was going to be July or August, and it was really July or August this year where things are normal now. So thanks for just being kind, man. I appreciate it. He wanted to fight me yesterday. Today he loves me. I did. Exactly. And right, there is a difference. The Chicago lingo got me there, and I was like, I'm going to get beat up in the trade show floor today. Like, I'm going to lose. Like, I sized him up and everything. Anyway, moving on.
So with coming out of
there we go. That'll help.
all right, so coming out of COVID, I've noticed that a lot of trends are changing. I'm from Texas, so the most particular thing is that I've noticed that a lot of the venues out there are starting to go all-inclusive, so it's taking away the opportunity to book the client outright, and also because they're going all-inclusive, they want a cheaper price because it's them. So I mean, what might be a good way to go around that?
Sure.
Well, tell me what you mean by all-inclusive.
Like the venue books, DJ, catering, photographers, that's all through the venue. The venue gets their cost for everybody.
Rentals, everything.
We're in a lawsuit with that right now.
Wow.
So.
Oh, wow. Have you run into that problem?
I mean, I don't know that I can speak to it because we have a couple of deals with banquet halls that include us, but only on off. It's usually like a winter wonderland package or something like that. So it's a great way to fill in some slower time at even it's a discounted rate. But I think there's one banquet hall in New Jersey but they've done that forever, and so everybody just chalks that up as, well, we're never going to play there. But you're seeing that at a lot of places.
Well, because like you said, there are some venues that have done it forever, and the people that are there, that's their thing, that's fine. But now, and I get it from like from like the couple's point of view, it makes it easy on them because they don't have to go around, interviewing everybody for their wedding.
But from a location point of view, I would be afraid if I owned a banquet hall. I would be afraid that if I made the client book ABC DJ, well, if they come in and they want to book here, but they love Joe Bunn, they're going to go, well, I'm going to take my money down the street. So I don't know.
They do that. They give you a buyout option.
They do.
There's a venue company in Texas that has 30 venues in Austin, Houston, and Dallas. And they just went inclusive on floral, photography, and DJ.
Wow. I'm glad I don't live in Texas. And that's not the first time I've said that, by the way.
Coming from a man that loves the Cowboys. Okay, so, I mean, if I can just touch on that briefly, we haven't run into that problem in North Carolina. I mean, but is there any opportunity to win that business, I guess?
So, I have been getting calls from some venues that are like, hey, we would like to include you into our package. That's fine. But, because it's becoming a new trend after COVID, we're not getting everybody. We're not getting all the venues. So we still want to be in the market with everybody, not just with XYZ venue.
Mark?
I would add to that is that just because venues are becoming included, just like anything, why don't you do a little backstory on the venue so that you're not, your brand is not attached to somebody that may not be at the level of customer experience that you give your clients. In that sense, essentially, not every venue is a place that you want your business to be, simply because of for the easiest price point or the case may be. So,
Mitch, did you have a question?
I do. I don't know if you want me to say.
Yeah, no.
So we heard Joe's story this morning and his inspiration. I think we all know yours. Mike, you started as a DJ at Star.
Yeah, my mobile DJ career. Yeah.
So the question I have is, how many years at Star? What got you into DJ work initially? And what made you decide to spread your wings and start with DJNTV?
Great question.
So I started at Star in '88. I had gone to school for broadcasting, thinking I was going to get into radio. And Star DJ is it was a smart idea on their part. They basically had an agreement with Connecticut School of Broadcasting that they came in and gave this presentation. And I remember going to an open house / audition, which again was an ingenious idea because basically they got like 10 people on the microphone that night and said, you're auditioning. And I thought I was pretty good compared to a couple of the other guys. And then the next week, they were all there. So everybody, quote unquote, passed the audition. But it was a smart thing.
Soccer team in high school.
Right.
I was shitty, but they let me
So I worked at Star for 4 years. And I'll be honest with you, Mitch, I would have stayed at Star forever. I had no entrepreneurial spirit whatsoever. It wasn't like I grew up saying, I have to be a business owner. But they just had made a ton of really bad decisions. They were over their heads in debt. And the only reason why I knew that was I also had a position in their office. I wasn't just one of their DJs. I worked in the office, and I just saw it going downhill. I mean, the owner was banging the secretary. It was like everything you could think of as far as just this is not going to end well. And so I just I just jumped off the ship and then 6 months later, my prediction was right because they were pretty much out of business. Hey there. Sorry to interrupt this awesome podcast, but I wanted to read a review for you that I received recently. Let me see if I can find it. I get so many. Oh, here it is. Mike and his crew went so far above and beyond what my wife and I ever could have imagined for our wedding. The whole process from start to finish was professional, engaging, and fun. And then this client writes, the event planner is awesome and allows you so much time and flexibility in planning your event. That's the type of feedback we get all the time. A, how awesome we are. B, how helpful and cool our online planner is. And while it looks like we have this super cool online planner, it's just DJ Event Planner branded for us. So if you're not using DJ Event Planner, besides missing out on the most powerful CRM sales tools available to our industry, you are missing out on this type of feedback from your clients. Let the great planning tools available from DJ EP blow them away before their event, then you blow them away at the event. That's a winning formula. Head to djeventplanner.com right now and start your free 30-day trial. Go ahead, Joe and I will wait for you.
Tamara, I think.
Hi. First of all, thank you both so much for everything that you do for our industry, especially coming out of such a very difficult year.
Yeah.
With that being said, do you have, were there any mantras or words of wisdom that got you through last year? In case we have hard times ahead, it would be nice to just hear how you dealt with such a difficult year for our industry and for everyone.
Let's speak on that first.
I know this might sound like a negative way to answer that question, but there were a number of times last year where I said to myself, so many other people were pivoting into other, and I just said, I don't know any other thing to do than DJing. So I just had to hold on to this career and hope it came back, and it has come back probably more than I wished at any point last year. But yeah, I mean, I just said to myself, I know parties are going to come back. I know people are going to want to celebrate. I've been doing this long enough to know I've been through a couple of recessions and a couple of bad times and post 9/11, and a few times where people just said, hey, are we going to really ever want to celebrate again? Yes, people still want to congregate and celebrate. So I never gave up on that. But I do think part of it was because when I looked at my options, I'm like, I'm too young to retire and I don't know any other way to do anything.
I mean, same. I mean, I think I have enough of a friend set that's not in the industry, and they were like, man, things are going to come back. It was almost like I wouldn't, maybe some days I did cry, but it was like a shoulder to lean on, shoulder to cry on kind of thing. And they were like, look, man, things are going to come back. And that's kind of what I was preaching to everybody. Like, this is not going to change human nature. Even when Mike and I probably did 4 or 5 parties each last year, maybe a few more than that. 20, 25 people, they were still partying. And that's how I knew. I was like, it's just restrained right now. And as we came out of the gate into March, we've had like legitimate issues, like where my DJs are like, do not send the survey out for that. Everybody was too turned up. Like the groomsman was trying to drink moonshine and fight the venue owner. It got like, and then he punched the windshield out of his car because he got cut off. And like, it just got to the point where, I was saying, like, let us know if you had incidents, because I don't want to send the survey to these people, even though it had nothing to do with us. Like, we weren't involved. So anyway, it was nuts. Moonshine. Right. KC?
One thing I've always respected about you guys is your retention of DJs and the way that you hire, recruit, train, set up their career in the industry. During COVID, we've had 27 DJs leave us to either start their own company or join with companies that used the downtime to kind of set up meetings discreetly, and it's been tough. And now we're trying to revamp. What can you guys shed light on, retention and how you set up their careers so that they stay with you in a multi-op setting?
So it's funny, Mars took me to a great breakfast this morning, and he and I were just, thank you very much. I'll take a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel any day of the week. One of the things I did, obviously I couldn't do this for every one of my employees, but for some of my key employees, I've given them some skin in the game as far as ownership, not of Elite Entertainment, because I still own Elite Entertainment outright, but I've set up other entities that they have ownership in, and entities that are basically tethered to the mothership. In other words, they get their funding and their events. So, for example, we have a photography division that I'm a partner in, along with 2 of my people. A video company that relies almost completely on Elite Entertainment that 2 of my DJs own. An upgrade company that I'm a partner with, but that guys have skin in. So that wouldn't have answered your 27 DJ dilemma. But if you have some key people on staff that you really want to, I don't want to lose this guy or gal. They're a rainmaker. They bring in a ton of referrals. They've been with me forever. Setting up an entity like that could be a beneficial way to do it.
Yeah, Casey, California, right? California guy, right? So can't think of a much worse place to be a DJ right now. Even y'all just now, a couple of days ago, they're coming out of it. For me, also, you got to remember my model is a little bit different than Mike's. They're subs. Everybody that works for me, all 16 guys in the Raleigh office, they have another job. It might be a school teacher, air conditioner repairman. I have a plumber. I have, just tradesmen, software salesman, whatever. So I think the retention part wasn't that difficult because they still had their 9 to 5, let's say, job. This was their take the kids to Disney money or, do it once a week kind of thing. And so retention for me has been always, going back to the very beginning, be very upfront when I hire them. Listen, hey, man, you're starting at the bottom of a deep roster, but I have guys that are getting older. I have guys that are having babies. You're going to move up. You're not going to start next weekend. It's just not going to happen. So I'm very upfront. well paid, probably overpaid. You know, when you're a DJ yourself and an owner, just like yourself, you're probably going to have a tendency to overpay. And again, money talks and keeps people around. So it's just a little bit of a different model, I guess. But the retention for me has always been because I've always said, again, in that initial interview, this is not your job. This is not your full-time job. You know, it is for me because I run 16 of you guys, but you need to have another source of income. And I think that's why people are able to stay around. They didn't hang their hat on just being a DJ.
Thanks for listening to the PHDJ podcast with Mike Walter and Joe Bunn. We'll see you on the next episode.